to take through some of my research. For anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Patrick Watson, head of research at Cavell. I'll try and whistle through this. I did genuinely forget how many animations I put into the deck. So hopefully nothing's whizzing or fading, and we'll have a little go. I think that the first thing to sort of bear in mind is the customer experience. I think we always get carried away, and if you think customer experience, you think contact center. And customer experience is so much more than that. So obviously it does include communication systems like contact center systems, PBS systems, collaboration systems, traditional telephony systems, but also it's much more than that. It's the data management, it's your customer relationship manager, your CRM, your customer data platform, your customer interaction data platform, aka even more initiatives in there. Marketing and sales systems, the GOM, the sales enablement platform is absolutely massive, millions of users in the States. Marketing platform is exactly the same. Agent and employee experience tools, we're seeing more and more employee experience tools within collaboration systems. That's always been relatively important within the contact center in terms of agent experience. That's a really key facet of customer experience generally. And then also vertical specific systems, so manufacturing resource planning systems, healthcare specific, vertical specific systems. All of these different systems effectively make part of the customer experience as a whole. And finally, I know we've got a lot of the particular point solution providers out there, data visualization reports, so effectively being able to understand this data, easily visualize it, so that it's usable for sort of administrators and users is absolutely key. So I just want to put out there, I think we always think customer experience contact center is much broader than that. It's much broader across different topic areas. So, however, I did think we look at the formal contact center market. So what am I talking about when I'm talking about the formal contact center market? I'm talking about either a user on a dedicated, could be a premises-based contact center system with all the traditional guys that you think of via Cisco and myself, or a dedicated formal CCaaS platform. And in our numbers, we would count only public multi-tenant effectively CCaaS solutions, nothing private and local. So effectively, there's about 3 million total contact center agents in Europe. And the contact center is only adopted in a really small fraction of businesses. Less than half of European businesses actually recognise having a formal contact center solution. And less than 10% of the SME. Now, just for context, the SME I'm talking about 50 users or less, so organisations of 50 employees or less. So if we look at those 2.9 million users, 2.9 million agents total in Europe, also as Tom Black was saying in our presentation earlier, CCaaS penetration is around 30%, so there's about 1 million on CCaaS platforms, that's the numbers that we're tracking. But effectively, if we look in the sector with fewer than, I got really told off yesterday for having less than 50 employees, not fewer than 50 employees in this presentation. If we look at the number of agents in the fewer than 50 employee businesses, it's only 250,000 agents. The SME is massively disproportionately represented in terms of formal contact center. So the SME, the sub-50 business sector, represents 30% of the total employee market, only 9% of the formal contact center market. So the two numbers don't correlate there. So businesses with less than 50 employees, 250,000 agents, as I said, the penetration is actually slightly lower in this sector, so about 70,000 on sort of multi-tenant CCaaS platforms. Average agent deployment size in that sector of businesses, only 2 agents. So this might be one person with a formal contact center license. And the average price they pay for a CCaaS seat, and this comes from our enterprise research where we survey businesses, is about 67 euros. The average price for businesses of all sizes was nearly 100 euros. So the SME has specific requirements, obviously as you expect, and more price conscious. However, we did also ask organisations in this sector what they were planning in terms of their contact centres. And as you can see, I highlighted here, 36% of the businesses that we surveyed were expecting small growth, so maybe 10% of their agent base. And again, that could be quite a small agent base, it might only be 1 or 2 agents, difficult to grow by 10%. But effectively, what I wanted to get across here was that generally contact centre operators in the SME sector are expecting their agent bases to grow, so it's a pretty sizable market. So that's formal contact centre agents. However, the market is significantly wider than that. So we're not just talking about formal contact center agents. I think something we've been talking about for a while is the sort of informal or light contact center market. We're looking at customer communicators. So I'll be really interested. I did have a sort of poll question. So what percentage of your organisation outside of the formal contact centre communicate with customers? So for a Cavell standpoint, so we're quite a small organisation, pretty much 100% of staff communicate with customers, even though we don't have a dedicated contact centre solution. So effectively, we interact directly with customers, that could be via any channel. We have some requirements to track or manage and record our customer interaction. We have our own system. We need to analyse, revisit and review some of those customer interactions. We record some of them. And we are not formal contact centre agents. So effectively, the Cavell team and a really significant proportion of the potential European market don't have formal contact centre seats, wouldn't fit with a formal contact centre solution, but effectively have a requirement for some of the capabilities there. So what does that mean in terms of opportunity? So we've got this market for customer communicators outside of the sort of formal contact centre. They might need capabilities across any of these different systems. So they'll be a communication system, they might need data management, marketing and sales, any of those areas. The average price that we track for a UCAS license is €16.30. The average price in this segment for a CCAS license is €67. So somewhere in there is a sweet spot for this market, depending on the level of features and inclusion. And I know a lot of providers in this room already have tailored packages which piece together either bits of data management, communication capability, vertical specific integration into a particular product. And I think at Cavell, this is something that we're tracking as a particular opportunity within the industry in terms of this informal, light customer communicator segment of the market. If anyone else we decided precisely to patent on that yet, but we will have a go depending on what sort of included in the future. So that was my little concept presentation. I wanted to welcome on stage for a panel discussion, talking a little bit more about the CX opportunity. My panelists, Kim Bevington, Nikki Potter from Gamma, David Hayek from Vexella, and Ian Desmet as well from Centre. If you could come to the stage. Any of those mics should be live. Any of them I should be live. I'll stand. Does it feel pressurising? I think I might stand. So I'll tell you what we really useful. I think if we start about you, if we just do really quick introductions both to yourself and you of course told with the company and go down on that. Should be on, I think.
Okay, good afternoon. So I'm Ian Bevington. Some of you I know already know me. I've been in the communications industry a very, very long time, many decades. Currently product marketing manager at Solvent, provider of call analytics, collaboration analytics, and recording back recording.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, Nikki Potter. I am product marketing manager at Gamma. I am ultimately responsible for our marketing strategy for our experience group. As part of our experience group, Horizon Contact is our SME solution that's geared well towards enabling customers to ensure that they're providing solid CX.
Thank you.
I'm Ian Desmet, Central. I'm running the partnerships with service providers on a global scale, so everything that's for an American company outside of the Americas, it classifies international. So if from Iceland, Australia, if you're a service provider, you'd like to contact. Yeah, so my name is David Hayek. I'm the founder of Cavell, the cloud-centered provider. We are headquartered in Prague, Czech Republic, so I'm coming from sunny Prague and continuously disappointed. Yeah, it is. And we are providing cloud contact center services mainly in the Central and Eastern Europe, but we have offices here in the UK as well. So thank you for being on.
No, that's absolutely pleasure. So I want to sort of pick through the opportunity, particularly in the SME, in terms of CX, as I said, much broader than the different context. Helen was trying to sort of dive in some of those different approaches for suppliers that have been very successful there, and tell me back about it. So, as usual, for everyone that knows me, I would immediately go off script. I just wanted to, the sort of size I was presenting in terms of market sizing, and EVOS, do you think it's a sizable market in Europe for sort of SME customer experience solution?
Well, I 100% concur with your statements. I think we don't realize how large this potential is. Basically, every customer interacting employee at an SME needs this technology. The receptionist of a doctor has to interact, right? You have to phone the appointments, you have to send an SMS, you have to interact over WhatsApp. It's not that simple. A salesperson on the road uses his cell phone. How can you make that guy more productive? Add some contacts. So basically, everybody that interacts with the customer is a potential client. And also, basically, the market is hundreds of what we think it will be.
Yeah, we had a little bit of an external debate the other day about the sort of size market for this. But I mean, it depends probably on the level of communication that there's. David, from your perspective, big opportunity?
Absolutely. I think that, as you showed in the presentation, the CX is not just about the customer service department anymore, and we see that we are able to sell some kind of services from the CX box to the rest of the company. So it can be sales teams, hunting the leads, doing the call campaigns. It can be marketing. So we can see that, and with additional services which comes into this market like AI, workforce management, it adds more and more. So the opportunity is huge.
Yeah, I think the portfolio is vast for sort of. Yeah, from the Solomon perspective, I mean, this is something that you've been doing for a while at Solomon, in effect. So, I mean, I'm sure you must think it's a sort of relatively sizable market, or you wouldn't be in it.
Yeah, so to state the obvious, well, you've already said it. Every single SME anywhere has customers, be they clients or patients or passengers, guests, whatever they are. I think where they've got formal contact center solutions of some sort, then they're probably managing that well. So I think some of the danger comes from the informal customer touch points that you talked about earlier, because often they're conversations that might have a higher value or be more complex. So in those settings, you might argue that analytics and recording is even more important.
Yeah, I think on that sort of previous slide I put up, effectively being able to track and analyse and record some of those interactions is absolutely key. Nikki, so I think we've established it's a pretty big market. So from a Gamma perspective, what's the best way, because I think we often put SMEs off with contact centres. So what's the best way to sort of position CX solutions?
So I think we know it's not just a trendy term anymore. We know it's more than just products and solutions. It's about kind of creating that positive interaction and those lasting impressions. So our experience has been twofold. The SMEs sit into two camps. There's the camp that understand that they're in the market for a contact centre, and being able to kind of sell into that space is relatively simple. They understand all the acronyms that we know come with technology and communications. And then you have the other camp, which are a lot of small to medium businesses that really don't see themselves as operating in that contact centre market. So it's being able to speak to those guys on a level with language that they absolutely understand, no acronyms, understanding their pain points, and then being able to kind of tailor that to what they need. So if you think about it as a marketing equation, even though it's not, if you think about the CX angle, plus the EX angle gives you the TX angle. And by that I mean, focusing on the CX is the consumer. What do they care about? They care about being able to have fantastic experience at every single touch point with your organisation. They want the proactive interaction. They want a personalised experience. They want all the good stuff that comes with experience. If you think then about the employee experience and what those guys are looking for, if you provide employees with a solution or a tool that will enable them to provide fantastic CX, you will ultimately get increased productivity and employee satisfaction. Overall, what are you then giving? You're getting loyalty not just from your employees, you're getting loyalty from your customers, which will ultimately reduce churn and cost and then drive your return on investment. So if you think about it, that happy staff, happy customers equals a happy organisation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think it's always been sort of thought of like that, but it's effectively putting it together into the sort of packages. From a Ring Central perspective, and obviously we saw the presentation with Ring CX this morning, do you think the sort of phrase contact centre scares the SME a bit? What do you think about the sort of approach for CX solutions in the
100%, and I don't think we've found the right term already, right? That makes this appealing to the SME, right? I fully agree. There's a whole set of customers that don't realize they need this technology, and they're probably using this in a big enterprise. They call it shadow IT, right? So you might have a receptionist who has a LinkedIn channel or a Facebook channel, right? Who's doing that on the side, and then somebody has somewhere an SMS or a gateway for something else, and then you use phone. So how do you all combine this and have this right terminology to the enterprise, also to SME? We haven't found this yet, right? But I 100% agree that this is really something we need to cater for. Yeah.
Well, I've gone with customer communicator, and if Ring Central want to come with some sort of agreement with me for that terminology, no, I am open to that.
Well, we have it, but we don't want to announce it yet.
Yeah, got it. David, sort of positioning CX solutions from a Dactella's perspective. What are you talking about? Contact center? Are you talking about customer experience? What's the sort of terminology?
Yeah, I think what I try to give or ask our employees is that we have to educate the market. That's the key point, because usually, as my colleagues here said, that SMB customer or SME customer usually don't have the resources and the right people to study, make the research or make the decisions. So what we found interesting is that to have some kind of maybe consultancy team, who goes to the company, map the processes there, and really find the values for the customer, how we can help. So that seems to be like the best approach how to tackle the SME market, just to go there and really map what's valuable for them and start slow. That not oversell will be probably also the things which are key.
So from your perspective, it's more of a sort of composable approach where you maybe overlaying different features rather than going out with an all-singing contact center.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I said. I think that you have to really identify the value. Not just go there, have a fancy presentation, and sell that this license is what you need. You really have to find the value for the customer and start slow. That's my advice to everyone. Not to oversell it and just explain to the customer that he can grow with you, and he can add more channels later, and so on, because the simplicity is everything, and not to make the huge changes is probably also important when you're implementing such systems.
Got it. Ian, Toll Ring, are you talking about informal contact center, or are you talking customer experience? What's the sort of terminology? How are you taking this out to your... So you've been very successful in this space with your solutions. How are you taking this out there?
Yeah, so we, rather like Nikki really, we tend to talk about customer experience as a group of capabilities, and then employee experience also as a group of capabilities. So customer experience around understanding your customer, around managing the performance of individuals and teams, and ultimately managing the service level that you're delivering, and then employee experience, much more around employee engagement, around productivity, teamwork, motivation and well-being, which we all know, as we've moved towards a hybrid environment, becomes more and more important. And as Nikki said, the two pieces really fit together.
Right. I mentioned in the sort of context presentation about sort of vertical solutions within customer experience, and we've heard sort of the complexity, and I think, David, to your point, the sort of complexity of customer experience requirements does often require that nuanced, particular integrations. Are you seeing, and David, I'll start with you on that, are you seeing particular success in any sort of vertical market at all in terms of customer experience?
Yeah, I would start with that you can really sell SAICs to any company, you know, that's
Yeah.
true. But of course, there are markets and segments which are like ready a little bit more than the others. And in our case, in Dactyla case particular, we are very successful in finance, in e-commerce, and kind of maybe transporting. You know, this kind of, if I should mention,
like
top three, logistics. Yeah, probably. So these three are probably the top.
Is there a particular reason behind that? So you mentioned sort of finance. Is that you have to have an element of recording, for example, for compliance, or are there particular reasons why those verticals have been more successful?
I think that there are more elements of what they can use from the like from this space. It starts with, you know, calling the customer and record the calls, as you said. Then automation is huge things for the finance.
Yeah.
I personally just, you know, have a car accident a few days ago, and I was able to do the insurance claim 11 in the night, and I just do it automatically. So yeah, these, and even small businesses can, like, you know, have this kind of functionality, and it's ready. So yeah, I think it's just that there is more opportunities which their businesses can leverage right away. So that would be my answer.
First of all, I'm glad that you managed to make it here safely after car. I also want to question much more on that, but we won't. Ian, vertical success? Anything particularly you'd point at? Any sort of verticals, and why?
Yeah, so as a technology player, we do try and play across all sizes of business, all industry sectors, and across the various voice platform deployments that we know about. We do, however, support our partners to focus and get under the skin of various industry sectors, and we do see them succeeding in the obvious sectors that worry about customer experience, and I'm thinking there of retail, hospitality, certain parts of FinServe. Perhaps where we've seen quite a lot of success is, and I'm not sure you'd describe them as SMEs, but very highly distributed retail businesses where they want to be able, first of all, where they want to...
I suppose it's sort of little hubs
of they are, yes,
SMEs,
exactly.
Effectively.
And they have each of those retail outlets behave very much like an SME. Yeah. So there's two, I think there's two challenges there. First of all, you've got a lot of multitasking employees in those business that are, you know, perhaps serving customers over the counter and managing telephone calls and managing, you know, all sorts of other challenges at the same time. So they need solutions that give them a view of what's happening in terms of customer interaction and the ability to, for example, return missed calls and that kind of thing. And then if you step up to the head office, then they need a mechanism by which that they can look across this highly distributed business and make sure that they're delivering a consistent service from every site that they operate.
Great. Eva, I was going to come to you on that, because I know you've been very successful in public sector. In the SME, have you seen any particular successes in maybe verticals, and again, as to why that might be, if you could actually...
It's hard to, and I actually lean on you the same, right? It's hard to quantify segments in an SME, very hard. We look at it more as profiles. And so there's certain profiles of users that adopt this lightly. And so if the customer interaction, the more the customer interaction is complex, the more they tend to adopt this earlier, right? Take an example, right? And when we were on the cars. Imagine you're driving with your car on the road and something's rattling. What do? You call your dealership. You say, I have this problem, right? The dealership tries to help you over the phone, right? You come in. In a normal situation, what you have to explain to the receptionist exactly the same. My car is rattling at the back wheel.
Yeah.
If you have a contact center agent that transcribes it, which is commodity nowadays, that transcription is now into the business process. It's already in your document, right?
So that's
it gets
like
flown.
context
Exactly.
transfer.
So exactly. So you have to actually be able to transfer it then into the business process and actually make it into the flow of the company. The more you can do this, the more it's suitable today for adoption, right? So it's more what's the usage of this technology than just the segmentation, because I think every segment can use this. Yeah.
Really interesting. So that's almost more usage, persona-based rather than...
Exactly, it's persona-based, correct.
Rather than vertical-based. So rather than the sort of verticals or personas, Nick, obviously from a Gamma perspective, you've been one of the most successful providers in terms of indirect provision. So I wanted to know about route to market, and obviously your channel partners, are providers sort of set up to sell CX solutions?
So we try and make it easy as possible to do business with our partners. We ensure that they've got all the kind of marketing, sales, technical collaterals that they need. They have access to our academy that gives them access to the sales and technical accreditation. They've got access to our marketing platforms, which give them all the marketing information that they need. We've got a lot of partners that have been on board with us right from day one, and they are doing fantastic, but we've got lots of partners that still aren't there yet. And it's just about working with them and trying to speak to them so that they've got an understanding of how they can go out and ultimately have these conversations with their end user customers. A lot of them are already selling UCaaS solutions. If they see it as an opportunity to put UCaaS and CCaaS and dovetail them, they're ultimately going to differentiate themselves to some of our other partners that are just purely out there selling UCaaS at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting piece. And I wanted to, and Eva, I might come back to you on that. Obviously, RingCentral established as one of the biggest global UCaaS brands. How much re-education is there needed for both your direct customers, but also partners that you sell through about selling CX solutions rather than sort of UCaaS solution?
So I won't comment on the direct part because
yeah, of course,
that's another segment, right? So I will not comment on that. But certainly on the partners, if you look at the segmentation, I'm going to go back in segmentation. The segment you allude to, right? The 0 to 50, or let's say the 5 to 50, maybe, right? If we need to educate the partners, this is my humble opinion, we failed. This should be almost being able to do e-commerce driven, right? Have personas, very easy marketing. Think you have an app of your service provider, upsell in the app, upsell on the pages. If you really need to have that skill transfer, both for the sales and then also the delivery, I think this technology will fail.
Is that possible to do though, just because of the sort of complexities of...
But think about it, if you're buying Facebook messaging from Facebook, nobody is telling you how to buy this. Nobody is telling you how, there's no big program to educate from that. Think about it. Nobody's telling you how to send an SMS. We're not there yet, don't get me wrong, we're not there yet, but it should become as ubiquitous, only then we will scale to the magnitude we talk about, right? If every employee that has customer interaction can use it as that, like intuitive as a normal retail application, then this industry will succeed. Yeah.
Sorry. Ian, from the tolling side, in terms of how much education of, because effectively I would almost a value-added service what you provide in terms of a lot of the service provider offerings. So how much education has been required there to enable them to make a success of that? Because that wouldn't be necessarily a core selling area.
So yeah, we put a lot of effort into communicating with our partners. I think there's a few things in play here. So first of all, we run an awful lot of webinars with our partners, so that I guess you might count as sales education really in terms of communicating our proposition and talking about our capabilities. I think it's got much more interesting now. We're starting to address the requirements of the Microsoft community, because I think, you know, in terms of the way that customers buy is much more diverse now. They've got all sorts of different buying preferences, and that means you need all sorts of different partners to address those requirements.
So are you talking potentially about app stores within platforms?
Well, yes. So you know, just to map that out, we've got, in terms of partners, we've got everything from, you know, big service providers through to resellers.
So like a technology partner,
all the way through to the Microsoft app presence on the Microsoft marketplace. But still, our biggest route to market is service providers. It's where we spend a lot of our time, you know, in education and providing materials and all of those kinds of things. But what I would say is the most successful of them bundle our analytics and recording in with their base
voice offer because it allows them to differentiate. It makes their offer easier to understand, and it also helps with customer retention.
Yeah, I can maybe add to that. Yeah, it's definitely a problem, and let's say it loudly that educating the partners for the CX is very difficult. But on the other side, what we do in Dactyl, that's my experience, is that we set what we call a non-financial targets for the first kind of the partnership, where we really want to educate and train the sales force. And
they're not having to commit to we will deliver 10,000 seats or
no,
whatever.
No. And we finalize that by the certifications of the sales force and the customer support, because usually these partners are doing their own L1 support. And that seems to be working fine. So we just try to be kind of in a hypercare mode for the first period, and try to build the funnel and really help our partner to succeed. So that's maybe one of the things. And I will close this with what helps us as well is kind of having a catalog solutions, maybe especially for the AI. We have lots of customers who ask or approach us, can you guys help us with the AI thing? And we just, how we can help. And what helps us really is to have a catalog of services and problems.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, this, what I mentioned, like a no-show voice bot. Tick the box, and have 10 services like that. You give that to the partner, and it's much easier to start.
So that's like an education on the art of the possible thing. If customers aren't even sure what is possible with
exactly.
AI.
Yeah, yeah. So you just open the mind, and they can really see the practice of how this can help them, because they usually don't have any idea how AI can help them.
I want to just shift tack slightly. So, Cavell, we've done quite a lot of research. So we survey and we interview enterprises about how they use technology. And one of the things that came back from the research, particularly in smaller businesses, was that with their customer communication, they tend to be much more reliant on one or two channels. And those tend to be voice, email, SMS. So I was just interested, are you seeing sort of any shift away from, Nikki, I might come to you first on that. What are the sort of key communication channels for smaller businesses, and are you seeing any shift away from sort of voice as the key channel?
I think research is showing that there is a slight decline away from voice, but if you think of most small to medium businesses, voice is still very much their lifeblood. And that's not to say that they shouldn't be thinking about new digital channels moving forward. Your own research, your two female colleagues, I can't remember their names now from the last time. That
Katie and Caitlin, C squared.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was quite good.
If you think of like Gen Z, Gen Z, however you pronounce it, they don't want to pick up a phone and make a phone call. My kids are exactly the same. They will not pick up a phone and make a phone call, but voice is still primarily the main channel. It gives the fastest way of getting a resolution to your query. But yeah, absolutely need to focus on more digital channels moving forward.
Okay. Eve, I wanted to come to you on that, because the example that you cited, a lot of it was sort of mobile-based, and I don't know about most people, and my preference is I want to fix everything on my mobile, ideally. So just interested, what sort of communication demands are you seeing from a Ring Central perspective? You're a voice specialist, any sort of decline in voice?
It's actually a combination. I agree that it depends on the other side. So who's at the other side of the communication channel? The younger you get, the less voice you're going to have. That's logical. And also, like you said, the sense of urgency. Think about, you lost your credit card. What you're going to do, you're going to phone. You take the number, you're going to phone, block my credit cards. Nobody's going to think, and well, WhatsApp channel, Facebook, right? So it depends a little bit where you are in the stage of the communication and what you want to achieve. But I would say at large, it's voice, SMS, email, right? And then the typical, depending on what audience you want to reach, right? You have TikTok, you have Facebook, right? There's about 20 channels that people are using. Depends on the audience on the other side.
If I lose my credit card, the last thing I'm doing is a TikTok.
Exactly. You're going to make a phone call, right?
Yeah,
you're going to make a phone call.
It's very unlikely I'm going to interpret that through dance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a combination.
But then again, right, you make a phone call, you might say, can you send me an SMS? Or maybe you can send an email or confirmation that, right, your credit card is blocked. So it's actually multi-channel, right? So it's not one channel, it's actually more and more multi-channel. But indeed, predominant SMS, I would say voice is still predominant there.
David, from Dactela, especially the
Yeah,
regions that you're in as well.
Yeah, I would probably agree with what was said here. I'm old enough to know that every year, someone is trying to questioning the voice channel. So it's still here, and it will be with us probably sometime longer. Yeah, so I would probably agree that you probably need, to offer truly omni-channel experience to the customers. But where I see quite a increased interests from the SME market is the mobile phone.
Yeah,
really the mobile application, and we do have customers who are really mobile only.
Yeah.
On the sakes.
I think I would be ideally.
Yeah. So this is probably something which can drive their attention as well. Yeah.
And obviously, the portfolio has gone a bit wider into sort of collaboration and other areas, but the voice still key.
Yeah, so I've got a slightly different take on this. So first of all, for businesses that have moved online, I think the role of voice changes a little bit in that you might have a very infrequent opportunity to speak to your customers, and therefore I think, whereas 10 or 15 years ago it was all about the call analytics, it's now a blend of call analytics and managing the quality of conversations, which brings recording into play. The other thing that's changed, of course, more recently is since the pandemic, we're using collaboration a lot more. So I think we've got to be mindful of that, particularly when you bring into play some of the informal customer interaction that we talked about earlier on. So, in that case, for some businesses, what we're finding now is that they can't get a good measure of customer interaction solely from their call center operation, because so much communication now is taking place in a collaboration environment. So I think it's becoming really important to be able to monitor both of those environments to build a complete picture of what's going on.
Great. We're up on time, but I did just want one last really quick answer from each of you, if possible. What are you doing as providers, and what can we do as an industry to sort of boost demand for CX solutions in the SME? And Ian, I'll come to you, and then Nick, we'll come down the line.
Okay, so I think one of the challenges we've got as an industry is when we engage with somebody with an on-premise telephone system. Let's be honest, they're pretty competent, and so you get into this awkward conversation about a parity in terms of features and all of that kind of thing. And I think that's missing the point these days, because we can do so much more with a cloud telephony or a UCaaS infrastructure. And then by saving our end user some money, they can reinvest that in, for example, AI-powered recording and those kind of technologies, which absolutely changes the game. So yes, they might lose one or two features, but that might be okay if their business has changed. I don't think we necessarily always need to hit parity of features, but we can deliver so much more value. So I think my message is we need to, up the conversation, change the game.
Vicky?
I think it's really straightforward for me. Look, customer experience, the expectations are only getting higher and higher. So our customers just need to think about where they want to be today and where they want to be tomorrow, and the future needs to be planned for today.
Eve?
I think it's making it easy to buy, right? So I'm convinced we have to talk about personas, but if you make it really complex and a long sales story, right? If you want to buy a SIM card, it takes you on average, 15 minutes to buy a SIM card.
Yeah.
Right? That's where, again, I'm saying not now, but that's where we want to get, right? If you make it too difficult and, for Facebook, you have to pay 50p more, and then if you want LinkedIn, you have to pay, right? Think about, this is the average, right? There's 20, 50 channels. The average consumer does 3. We make, no matter what channel you do, right? Make it very easy to buy, very easy to consume. A little bit like the bundling we have on multiplay, right? On broadband and so on. And then you will see a really adoption on this. Otherwise, it's too difficult to buy and actually too expensive to sell also. If it costs you more to sell than you get revenue, why are we doing this?
Got you. Simple to sell. And David, finally?
Yeah, I will probably repeat myself. It's what works best for us is to educate the market, really organize the local events, have someone from the industry they are like looking to, and present how the solution helps them and how it can help them. So they really need to see it like in practice. So that really works well. And of course, our biggest revenue driver and growth for the last 3 years is channel. So partners, and we are looking for looking up for the new partners. So that's something where we see biggest growth.
Okay. I'd like to ask for a big round of applause for all of the panelists: Ian Bevington from Tollring, Nikki Potter from Gamma, Yves Desmay from Ring Central, and also David Hayek from Dactela.